Okay, beautiful mamas, welcome. I'm so excited to have my special friend and guest, Jodi, on today's call. And we're going to just start off today by introducing Jodi to you. And I haven't even told you this, Jodi, but I'm so impressed by you because when I told you what I was doing for all these moms, you said, oh, I'd love to share what I know. So that's what today's going to be about. So everyone, this is Jodi Waugh. She's a registered nurse. She does so many things, but let's just chat with them and tell them a little bit about you. Can I just go back as to, you've been doing this for a long time, right? How many years now?
Are you calling me old?
No. I'm a beautiful mama.
I've been nursing for 29 years. So
yes.
almost to my 30th year in June.
Right. So. And oh, okay. So that's awesome. So, and right now you also do a lot of labor delivery coaching, and that's your focus, right?
Right. I work labor and delivery, obstetrics, postpartum, neonatal intensive care.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so you have so much value to offer to the group here in the mamas. Just a little bit about you. So what sort of led you in that direction? I'm kind of curious. Into nursing?
I don't know. My mom has when you have the little books when you're in school, this is what do you want to do when you get older? And yes. In kindergarten, I wrote baby nurse. So I think it's always been a thing that I've wanted to do literally since kindergarten or forever. So I've just kind of followed that passion all the way through. And as soon as I finished high school, I went into nursing program and followed my baby nurse instincts. I did have played in Emerge and ICU as well, but I still keep getting drawn back to the babies.
Yes, I know. It's beautiful. I love being in this group because it's mamas and babies. It's beautiful, right? Yeah. So, okay. So that's really great. So then did you start your labor and delivery like a few years ago, or have you always been in that area?
No, I started in obstetrics when I consolidated is what we call way back 29 years ago in obstetrics. And I worked that for a few years. And then I really wanted to get focused on babies. So I went to George Brown and specialized in the neonatal intensive care course. And then I wanted to do a little bit of traveling. So I went down to the States and I worked in Albuquerque, New Mexico for a little while. And I worked in Tennessee for a little while. And then I went to a different hospital that didn't have a NICU. So I started into the emergency department. I came back and I worked that for a while. And then when I came back to Canada, I started teaching through Georgian College and UIT University in Toronto. And I taught obstetrics, labor and delivery and NICU. So that kind of got me back into OB and LD, a full circle around again.
Wow. And I love that you mentioned that too, because a lot of our mamas in this group, we're North American. So I have a lot of them in the States as well, and Canada. And I mean, any information for mamas is just going to be across the board the same, right? Looking after yourself and stuff. So you have children too, right?
I have 3 boys. They're now considered adults. My youngest just turned 18, 21 and 24. So they're no longer babies.
Yeah, well, I'm ahead of you that I've got 2 boys, but now I've got 6 grandkids. So it's just
I can't wait. I can't.
You know what? I used to say I wasn't sure, right? But then when they hit and they start to come, it's just like, well, it's just amazing. It's beautiful. And then you get to watch them do what we did, right? Yeah. So the memories are just beautiful. It's awesome. Yeah. So, okay, so that's really great. So let's just talk a little bit about what you do. So and we're going to get on a couple more Zooms later, but right now, when you're helping moms in their labor and their delivery, we'll get into details of that. But is there a process right now? Do they come and see the hospital if they're going to, birth there and then get a course? Like, what's the step by step near the labor and delivery portion?
So depending what hospital you are planning on delivering at, and some people in different places might want to tour more than one hospital so they can get the feel for them. But I know in Aurelia, which is north of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, they often come up and they sign up for tours. So they can come in with their partner, come in with their support people. We basically will walk them around the unit. We'll show them where triage is, and triage is where people come if they're not sure if they're in labor or not. We often will monitor them for a little period of time. Sometimes we can examine them. And then from triage, we decide whether they are very early labor or not quite in labor yet, they can go home for a period of time. If they are in active labor, then we can choose to admit them. And that's when they go off to the labor and delivery unit. And so we can walk them around so they can see what it looks like. Often we'll let them see where the high risk room delivery is, and then where the postpartum. So after they deliver, they usually typically stay in labor delivery for an hour to 2 hours. And then we move them to the postpartum unit. And that's where they spend time with their babies, in their room for 24 hours a day. So they get lots of bonding time, lots of support time with their partners. If they're in a single or double room, their partners are allowed to stay with them so that they can be there to support and help. And that stay, typically, if it's a regular spontaneous vaginal delivery, will stay 24 hours. If they have had a C-section, that can stay anywhere from 2 to 3 days before discharge.
Okay, so that's lovely. That's so important to me when I think about it, right? Just to know where you're going, right? Now, if they're having a home birth, are there certain tips that you recommend that they do for that?
Well, for sure, they need to have lots of meetings with their midwives ahead of time to make sure what the plan is, because with a midwife delivery, they have to make sure that the pregnancy is going well. They have to make sure the baby's growth and development is going well. And as things progress, everything's going okay. Now, with life and labor and delivery, things can change quite quickly. So we often will recommend them, even if they are a planned home delivery, what if something were to go wrong? So what if the baby's heart rate starts to decelerate? What is going to be the plan to get to the hospital? Whether it's going to be calling 911 and going by ambulance, whether it's going to be going because maybe the mom's changed her mind and needs more pain control than they can provide at home. So maybe it's going to be going by a private car, to go ahead and have a look around the hospital. Because again, when your plans change like that, it's just scary going into a different environment if you had your heart set on a home delivery. So taking a tour of the hospital is not going to hurt. It takes an hour out of your time, just so that if you get into that environment, maybe you've met a few of the staff, you've seen what the rooms look like. Labor and delivery is meant to, it's got a nice couch, it's got a rocking chair, it's got all the equipment, but it's kind of hidden behind the walls, so you don't have to see it all. But the equipment is there if things start to turn sour and we need some more interventions. So even with a planned home delivery, go ahead and take a look at the hospital so you're prepared.
I like that idea, right? So you have the options, and in anything in life, you have to be able to pivot, right? And we're going to talk about that too, because a lot of mamas want to get their birth plan figured out, but you have to be open to change. Right?
Very, very much, because you're, as a nurse or as a doc looking after a mom, you're not only taking care of the mom that you can see and take vitals on and assess what's going on, but you're also taking care of another whole patient that you can't visibly see. You can't see color change, you can't see distress, you can't see anything. The only thing you can monitor is the heart rate. So it's very difficult. So we want to make sure that we're very in tune with what's going on with mom and baby. So we have to be able to be flexible with the decisions that we're making, so that our goal in labor and delivery is to get a healthy baby in your arms. It doesn't matter how that happens, whether it's a great, nice, easy home delivery, wonderful. If it is a in hospital with the medical surrounding, that's great. If it has to be the C-section, that's great. We want a healthy baby in your arms to go home with you. So that's our main goal.
Right on. No one's going to argue with that, which is a great segue into what I say for what I do in my program. I teach moms to have a calm, confident pregnancy, labor, and delivery. And, you know, I use the meditation, the journaling, affirmations, breathing, all those things, because it helps you through the whole process, right? So I know you encourage that as well, right? Things that I teach in my program.
Absolutely. Being prepared and understanding and knowing the great things that happen with labor and delivery. Women have been delivering for thousands of years. At home, they've been delivering without any interventions whatsoever. So you make your choice as a mom. You have that control, and you remember that through the whole entire pregnancy, through that whole entire labor, that you have control. But the big thing is just knowing the information behind it, so that when you're making decisions, you can make wise decisions. So again, we want that goal of a healthy baby in your arms. So knowing the information and knowing where things could possibly go and what we have to do to get that healthy baby in your arms just helps you make that decision. Because when you're in the throes of labor, not having that information and trying to absorb and make decisions on the fly is really tough. Whereas at least if you know these are options A, B, and C ahead of time, you and your partner can have discussed and said, okay, if this happens, then this is what I want. And I need you to advocate for me. So having sometimes a doula or a midwife that you guys have sat down with your birth plan ahead of time and organized what you want to do in each situation, and have your partner or your support person advocate for what you want. But we also have to make sure that, again, that the focus is on healthy baby in your arms. Is what I tell people over and over.
Love it. Love it. So thank you so much. Our time is pretty much up on this topic, but I'm so excited because I know you're going to join us for more. And I've been making some of my notes here. So I do want to get into a few things with you later. Even when you mentioned when women come in, they're not even sure if they're in labor. We'll talk about that too. The birth plan. And the next one, I'd love to talk to you about having your team, like having a doula and a midwife. So if you're okay with discussing that, we'll do that next time as well. Good. All right. So as I always end, I say, you know, a healthy, happy mama means a healthy, happy baby. So mamas, enjoy your day, look after your pregnancy, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for dropping by and watching the show with me today. I hope you really got something out of it. Hey, listen, I just want to remind you that if you are carrying a baby, you also need to be carrying a subscription to our YouTube channel, because we're going to give you all the information that you really need to make the most out of your pregnancy and have the most enjoyable journey. And I have a very special offer I want to tell you about. I've been helping moms enjoy their pregnancy, reduce pain, and get the most out of their pregnancy for over 20 years. And I've built an online workshop that I'm doing right now to help new moms really understand the 3 fundamental secrets that you need to know so that you can go through your entire pregnancy and labor with as little pain as possible. So if you want to watch the workshops and join me, go to havingababy.io. We'll see you on the next show.